Hello. Growing up, anything with an anime aesthetic was automatically my thing. I don't know about y'all, but back then I didn't even know it was called anime. I just thought they were this new update for cartoon art, like a next-gen console dropping. So when I started seeing that style pop up in games and TV, I was hooked. Dragon Ball Z after school and pretending I knew what was going on in Gundam Wing at midnight. By chance, I even joined Japanese club in 5th grade. I'll never forget my crush trying to steal my Inuyasha anime manga. That early obsession really stuck with me. And so these days, a lot of my gaming time is spent exploring stuff I was curious about as a kid. Evil Zone is one of those games. A PlayStation 3D fighting game I'd always heard of in passing, never really got the chance to play until recently. After a viewer recommended Evil Zone, finally added it to my list to give it a proper run through. In this video, we're going to explore what Evil Zone is all about. From its visuals and gameplay, to the story mode and voice work, we're taking a look at both the English and Japanese versions today. The PlayStation has one of the most varied fighting game libraries out there, so get ready for a wild one. This is the story of Evil Zone. Released in 1999 in North America, Evil Zone was developed by uhhh. You might know uhhh a bit better for their long catalog of wrestling games. From the jump, the presentation goes all in on the anime aesthetic. There's legit an opening and ending to the game, and having just rewatched some Bubblegum Crisis, the art style immediately rang a bell. It turns out the cutscenes were actually handled by AIC, the Anime International Company, the studio behind classics like Tenchi Muyo and, of course, Bubblegum Crisis. Each character's story mode is framed like a full-blown episodic anime, complete with preview bumpers, voiceovers, and episodic title cards. The character art, splash screens, and even the in-game camera angles all make this feel like an OVA that somehow got ported to the PlayStation. From the subtle hair physics on Setsuna to the over-the-top action hero vibes of Danzavir, Evil Zone manages to cover a heavy number of anime and fighting game tropes. Evil Zone is a 3D arena fighter that boils combat down to just two core buttons: triangle to attack, square to guard. From there, it expands with directional inputs, like forward triangle for special attacks, or back triangle for your finisher. Every character follows the same universal control scheme, but their actual moves and animations are totally unique. Distance matters too, so depending on how close you are, close, mid, or far, you'll trigger different capture attacks, which acts as the game's version of throws. If you're on defense, you can escape a capture by timing your block or simply just leaving that ring. You've got movement options like sidesteps, dashes, and jumps, but most of the real depth comes from timing and meter management. That's where power stocks come in. You build them by standing still and charging with triangle. You can store up to 3, and the lower your health, the faster you charge. It's a comeback mechanic that encourages risky plays. Ultimate attacks generally only burn a single stock, but they are incredibly easy to block since they're mostly all ranged. There's also a unique mechanic called a pressure dash. If both players dash into each other at the exact same time, it kicks off a button mashing face-off. The winner gets a knockback, so it's a huge advantage. Oh, and there's no in-game command list, so you either experiment or you hit up GameFAQs. At the center of Evil Zone's story is uhhh, a mysterious, reality-warping entity sealed away in a dimension called the Evil Zone. Think Garlic Jr., but with nicer legs. She's not just the game's final boss. She's the thread tying every character's story together. In the world of Happy Island, uhhh nearly destroyed everything. The cost to imprison her was massive, but it was only temporary. Now she's threatening to break free, and if she does, she has the power to do some real damage to multiple dimensions. To stop her, Happy Island reaches out beyond its own reality, summoning powerful warriors from different worlds and timelines. But they're not teaming up. Instead, a tournament is held, each character with their own reason for wanting to face uhhh. Some characters want to destroy her, while others want to claim her power, and in a few cases, they feel drawn to her for reasons even they don't understand. So ultimately, whatever happens to this lady can decide the fate of multiple dimensions. It's a surprisingly layered concept for what it looked like just an anime brawler. There are 10 characters total, each with their own anime-esque art, and, like I mentioned earlier, you'll spot some familiar archetypes along the way. Danzavir, or Sho Mikagami, a full-on henshin hero trying to rescue his partner Yuri from uhhh, feels almost like a cover character, like a Ryu or something. Midori Himino, a martial arts prodigy, think Buttercup meets Chun-Li, always looking for a challenge. I'm a big fan of that. Very Chie style here. Setsuno Saizuki, a schoolgirl fused with a spirit named Karen. Karen. Her story centers on a mysterious pull towards uhhh, and she wrestles with whether it's fate or possession. And then we got Kea. Now, for the weebs out there, this guy's in Onmyoji. He wants to revive his comatose lover using uhh's power. If you play the Japanese version, you may notice his voice does sound pretty familiar, especially if you did watch Gundam Wing. He's the voice of Hiro.
はじめまして。私、 店舗員 K と申します。
Each story mode is fully voiced, has its own background music, and unlocks bits of deeper lore. And the more you play, the more extras you unlock. Character encyclopedias, alternate poses, hidden voice lines, and full art gallery access. So many alternate costumes. You can play as the boss character. It's honestly worth playing through each one of them just to get an idea of how this story's going. Similar to Tekken 3, where you're just like so curious to figure out what the heck is going on at the end of these stories. So you want to beat each one of the character stories. You can see that movie at the end. And if you're a real completionist, there's a special congratulations mode, complete with a full cast send-off. Much more lighthearted than Evangelion, I gotta say. The localization, honestly, it's not bad. The English dub gives some real, like, late night anime vibes, but some of the lines hit harder than others, and it has that PS1 era delivery, with those pauses and here, let me show you something.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kea of Tempo Inn Clan. Pardon me, but you have some interesting power that I'd like to have.
Don't get fresh with me!
The English intro was the same when it came to reading the scrolling text here, but the music was wildly different. Here's a bit of the English intro. Okay, wow, swell. All right, bro, now here's the Japanese intro. Stop playing with me, right? Like, what is that? That's fire. Why didn't we get that? And the Japanese voice cast, bro, they went all in. Danzavir was Tomokazu Seki. All right, we're talking Escaflowne. Keo was Hiryu from Gundam Wing. Iodurka was Kikuko Inoue, right? From Oh My Goodness. There's so many characters to pull from. And even better, there's unlockable settings that lets you change the game's narrator to any of your characters. So instead of a generic voice guiding you through the menus and such, you can just pick one of your characters, right? Have Midori say the stuff. If you flip between English and Japanese, the tone shift is serious here. The Japanese delivery brings more weight, especially in the more dramatic scenes. Midori, for example, feels way more grounded in Japanese.
You're my opponent? It's unbelievable. Oh, hell with it. I'll go all out to crush you!
あんたかい。私の相手ってのは。しかし、いきなりまともじゃないね。まあいいさ。全力で潰すよ。
I'm not about to quit now. What's more, I can't pass up an opportunity to fight a sorcerer. I would never get this opportunity in my world. So I'm going to enjoy it.
私は引く気なんてさらっさらないよ。それに魔法使いと戦える機会なんて。私の世界じゃありゃしないからね。楽しませてもらうさ。
And real quick, if you played a lot of Japanese games, especially RPGs growing up, this might not surprise you, but for those that are interested in playing that Japanese version, don't forget, circle is select, alright? If you're switching discs or playing on a modded setup, just be ready to back out of some menus on accident a few times, alright? And speaking of regional differences, let's talk box art and logos real quick. Japan, Europe, and North America each got their own logo and cover design. The Japanese version uses the Japanese pronunciation as the spelling for the title, and has a unique style compared to the other ones. It's definitely a bit busier in design, and the box art comes off like an anime DVD. Europe went in a different direction. I'm not sure why I get Resident Evil vibes when I see this version. It could just be the color and font, but I do like the little gender symbol that I'm assuming is for Iodurka. North America's isn't bad, almost like a Brunswick Zone bowling alley styling. It still has the orbs from the Japanese version, and we can see Iodurka on the cover. If I had to choose, I'd go with the Japanese design and European logo with the American galley. Oh, and I stumbled across the Korean release too, though I haven't verified how widely it was distributed. I'm not so sure this is legit, but they definitely did their own thing. Jumping back to the mechanics for a second, every character in Evil Zone has access to 3 ranged specials, 1 finisher, and 4 capture moves. These aren't just stat swap moves either. Every animation is completely different. Errol finishes her suplex with an explosion. Kea draws like an arcane pentagram mid-air before firing a laser. Linwo carves magic symbols with his swords, and then commits seppuku. Alti literally drops meteors on people. Like, this stuff is crazy. It's pretty dope. It's not just about input here. It's about presentation, right? We're putting on a show when we fight here. On defense, you got options too. Blocking, sidestepping, safeguards, and guard impacts. Add in juggling, glide combos, and airstrikes. You got a stylish little sandbox for experimentation. Evil Zone is a short, strange, and very, very anime fighting game. It's not the most technical fighter, but it's one of the boldest stylistic swings on the PS1. The simplified mechanics, cinematic presentation, and layered unlockables Unlockables make it feel like a time capsule, one where fighting games lean harder into story and spectacle. If you're into anime fighters, cult classics, or just looking for something different from the PS1 era, this one's worth firing up. If you got a fighter in this roster, or maybe another forgotten gem I should take a look at, let me know in the comments. I literally read everything, seriously. Until then, take care, y'all.
つまらぬことに時間を取らせる。そこで永遠に朽ちていくがいい。